This is Coogan Cassius for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. It is 11:31 in the UK, Thursday the 3rd of February. I'm joined by Eddie Hearn. How are you, mate?
Very well, my friend. It's a bit earlier here. I'm in Phoenix after arriving from New York. Just finished the press conference, Quadras against Rodriguez. Just gloating in the pre-sale of Taylor Serrano. We'll make an announcement on that later on. Unreal. Yeah, mate. A couple of meetings and looking forward to the fight this Saturday.
We shall come on to that. First of all, obviously, I just want to say I'm really grateful that you found time in your schedule to talk to me.
Well, like, you know, for people that are just like, Coogan's been chasing me around, mate. You've got to do it. Have you been online? Oh, they are saying you're silent. I'm like, mate, I've just got so much on my plate. What? They're saying that you're not talking about the Fury-Whyte fight. I'm like, it's not my fight. What do you want me to say? No, mate, you've got to do it. Seriously, you've got to do it. So for the last 3 days probably, you've been chasing me.
Yeah, I drove you mad. I will say, I was driving myself, driving you mad, if that makes sense.
I actually was reading your WhatsApps back. I won't publish them, but they were fucking really cringe.
They weren't really.
At one stage, I noticed, yeah, you go, Ed, are you going to do this, mate? And then I ignored you, and then you go, Edward?
But to be fair, can I say one thing?
Edward.
You did tell me in the morning you'd do it before the presser today, right? You did say that to me, didn't you? Hence the masses of WhatsApp.
Hey, I'm flying, right? You got to understand, right? You're like, do it. So I flew from New York to Phoenix. I got in. I went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? The time zone's all over the shop. You're messaging me going, mate, can you do it in the morning, like before the presser? I'm thinking, I don't even know what time I'm going to wake up. Then I'm up to your messages. Mate, are you up? Are you up? Are you going to do it? It's just like...
All right. It's just because I read a book a little while ago, and it was... I can't remember who wrote the book, but they said, like, if you want something, be relentless. I don't know who said it, but that's what they told me.
12 rounds to success.
I think it was that, so I'm just following suit with that. Let's do things in kind of backward order. So let's talk about, first of all, do you know what? Fair play to Rodriguez. Fucking hell. This week. Great opportunity for him. Can he do it?
Yeah. I mean, with these fights, it's Chocolatito and Julio Cesar Martinez and Estrada, Rungvisai, like this show, I'll be completely honest, it's been a disaster. You know, Jesse Vargas was supposed to fight Liam Smith. Jesse got COVID. Rungvisai Quadras was a great fight for the world title. We elevated that to main event. Rungvisai flew into Phoenix. Right? He hasn't got COVID, by the way. He flew into Phoenix and fell ill, went to hospital. He's got like some kidney infection or something like that. And I just thought, this has got to be a wind-up. So spoke to Robert Garcia, spoke to Jesse Rodriguez. Rodriguez is a light flyweight. Quadras is a big super flyweight. And they just said, in a heartbeat, we're in. Like, we'll fight anybody, up to bantam, they said. He's tiny, Rodriguez. And Quadras is towards the end of his career, but, mate, he can punch. And he had Estrada over in the last fight. He's a big super flyweight. So Rodriguez will be too young and fresh for him, but because of the weight difference, it's a 50-50 fight. But in boxing, people have been telling me for a while that Jesse Rodriguez is going to be a pound-for-pound great. So we'll see. So it's a huge step up for him, but it's the smaller weights, people are willing to fluctuate and take more chances. And really, Julio Cesar Martinez and Jesse Bam Rodriguez have got us out of trouble by stepping up and taking the challenge.
It's mad, isn't it? I mean, he only announced a signing recently, and then a week later, you've got him a world title shot.
A bit dodgy, to be fair.
Oh,
is that what you're insinuating?
Not me, but yeah.
No. He was fighting as co-main event on the card, and I just asked him if he'd step up, and he's up for it. He's up for it. It's going to be a great fight.
Run through me the rest of the card.
So massive opportunity for Carly Skelly from Liverpool. She's fighting Jamie Mitchell, who beat Shannon Courtney. Like both kind of in similar positions in the respect of Jamie Mitchell come to Liverpool with a shot to nothing, and now Carly Skelly's coming from Liverpool with a shot to nothing. It's going to be a really good fight. Skelly's all action, big chance for her. Delighted to get, I only really put her on the card because Beefy was fighting on the card, and I thought it'd be great for another Scouser to challenge for a world title, but kept her fight on. It's a good fight. Ray Ford's got a great fight, stepping up against Edward Vasquez, unbeaten kid. I think he's 11-0. It's a really good fight. Khalil Ko, Aaron Aponte, also a really good flyweight fight as well on the card as well. And it's going to be a good night. Be lively. Be a lot of wars on the card. And I think Carly Skelly's got a good chance. I mean, I think Jamie Mitchell's a lot better than we thought she was when we picked her as an opponent for Shannon Courtney. But it's going to be an interesting fight.
I hand their ass whoopings.
Was that Jamie Mitchell?
Jamie Mitchell impression.
I ain't getting on no plane.
I don't know what that was. Let me ask you though, Eddie. When Shannon Courtney eventually returns from injury, where does she fit into all this? Because obviously she'll want to crack at the world title she won. Did you put her in with the winner of this fight with Skelly and Mitchell? She's
contracted to fight the winner, obviously within a certain time frame. We have to see how that injury plays out, but she's got the shot against the winner. Also, we've got the bantamweight, same division, world title fight between Ebony Bridges and Cecilia Roman. So pending when Shannon comes back, the winner of this fight could unify against the winner of that fight, etc. So again, talk about the lighter weights rolling the dice in the men's code. The females are just all up for unifications, undisputed, diving into big fights, and it's really refreshing. So when Shannon's ready, if she's ready, May, June, whatever, that will fit nicely to fight the winner of Skelly against Jamie Mitchell.
Okay, so let's backtrack to yesterday. Part one of your press tour. Obviously, the London one's on Monday.
Yeah.
But yesterday, the opening press conference for Taylor versus Serrano. You told me earlier, pre-sale went brilliantly.
Amazing. I mean, pre-sale, not dissimilar to the last time AJ, the last time Canelo Alvarez boxed at MSG. We'll actually make an announcement later. I'm waiting for some official figures from MSG, but it's huge, huge. And yesterday was brilliant. I mean, one, it was a great media turnout. Two, we were doing different kind of stuff that traditional fights don't normally attract in terms of media outlets, and just it was a brilliant feeling of people feeling like this was a historic moment. Did the Ariel Hawani show, which I really enjoyed. Got some good feedback off that. That was good. Met Jake Paul again for the first time in a couple of years. That was good. The girls were great. It's just everyone felt like it was a really special moment. Went down the closing ceremony at the New York Exchange. Katie looked like, both girls just looked like, I can't believe we're here. This is what we've been working for so long. And obviously now with Jesse Vargas against Liam Smith on the card, Cruz Dizern against Cederroos, the undisputed super middleweight championship. It's a massive card. And when you go to MSG, excuse my language, you can't fuck around. This is, I want to create a night MSG April 30th that will be remembered forever. And with the card that we're going to put on, I want to put on a couple of female prospects. I want to put on some other UK fighters as well, some of our American fighters in championship fights. So this card's going to be stacked. And I promise you, despite people who may have thought, going to MSG Big Room, we'll fill this place up, and it will be unbelievable.
What's the split of fighters on the bill between you and Jake Paul? Like, how many have you got?
He doesn't have any fighters.
If he wants one, could he have one on there?
You look at doing that. I mean, we're working with him on the card. He genuinely wants a good card, especially as not paying for it. And he wants a big night. Listen, he was brilliant yesterday. Brilliant. Like he weren't clowning around. I think he appreciates the sort of role that he has to play in this fight. He spoke very well. I don't want to sound like, because always you have a photo with him and he's sort of like, oh, Hearn, you're right up Jake Paul's arse. It's like, no, he's a massive asset to this promotion. And he did a good job yesterday. Did a really good job. And, we're working well together. And I just think it's brilliant. It's brilliant for the fighters, and it's going to be an amazing night.
Where did he get his stat about professional women's boxing not existing pre-1999? Because I'm pretty sure that's not accurate.
Well, you can ask him on Monday.
I will do. Didn't know if you had a word in his ear.
What I do know is it's the first time in the 140 years of combat sports at MSG that 2 females have headlined at MSG. Actually, MMA and boxing.
You love a stat, didn't you, Edward? Let's talk about the clash. It was good to see Shakur Stevenson put that tweet out about timings, etc. Will that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think some people are very diplomatic about it. I'm not as diplomatic about it. This is a much, much bigger fight than Stevenson Valdez. And people say, hardcore boxing fans will listen to this and say, no, it's like, this is what I do for a living. You're going to have 20,000 people in MSG for a historic moment like that. Trust me, this is a bigger fight. Valdez Stevenson, brilliant fight. So if ESPN want to try and counter schedule this moment, that's no problem. I think everyone will be sensible and say, look, let's move the times. But I'm not even sure Valdez is signed for that fight yet. I don't know the exact ins and outs. But honestly, look, the sensible people, DAZN, ESPN, I'm sure, and Jake as well, by the sounds of things, saying, look, let's all be smart. Let's go, at different times. I'm a little bit different. I'm that confident in this fight and the size of it that it, but maybe that's just my ego.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably your ego rather than for the fans. I've got to ask you about, I know you've probably spoken about this over the last couple of days, but Aram's comments regarding women's boxing, is that just Aram's opinion and he's entitled to it, or?
He's always entitled to his opinion. Bob's Bob. Bob is always going to tell you what he thinks, and you have to respect that. But it's a car crash. Because he's basically saying ESPN has no interest in women's boxing. I mean, he just headlined a card on ESPN with Michaela Meyer against Hamadouche. I was there. It was a brilliant fight. He's not a believer in women's boxing. This older generation, they're dinosaurs. You can't change their mind. Frank Warren, exactly the same. How many women's fights do you see on BT and on Frank Warren shows? Never. I mean, we had a couple of Nicola Adams fights. Like, he never supports female boxing, but you have to understand, it's not for him. Do you know what I mean? And it's not for Bob. But when you've got Michaela Meyer, who's one of the pound for pound top female fighters, and her promoter is saying, basically, women's boxing's like not relevant, and we're not interested, and ESPN's not interested. It's not a great look. And all you do is you open up the door to Jake Paul crucifying you. And that's what Jake Paul does best, crucify people.
It's a bit of a likely and unlikely duo, you and Jake Paul, isn't it?
I said openly yesterday, and the guy can be they didn't understand. I used a few words, plonker, bell end, I think helmet was another one. And none of them understood what that meant. But sometimes you can't help but look at Jake Paul sometimes and say, what a knob. But at other times, like, I like the guy. I think what he's doing in boxing, I have absolutely no problem with. I think he's very smart. He's good to work with in a promotional sense. But I'm sure he looks at me sometimes and thinks I'm a complete knob. It's no problem. But I keep telling you all the time, the jealousy, bitterness, and just like hate in the boxing business is on another level. Jake hasn't got that because he's just come in. He hasn't been affected by that. He's not, and this is the problem with boxing. So here you've got two guys who, I'm I don't even know if he likes me, to be honest with you, but it's irrelevant because we both share the same goal to do the best for our fighter and to make the show as big as possible. And we'll do a really big job of that and a good job. And it just shows you when two people can just get on and work with the same goal, what you can do in boxing and what you can do for fights. So I'm up for working with him more. Easy.
Just the final one on that. Would this fight have been made now for April 30th without Jake Paul's involvement, in your opinion?
No. Because he raised Amanda Serrano's value in this fight. When we did the deal, we understood, the zone understood that we were getting Jake Paul as well within this promotion. And Serrano was never happy with the money until she was happy with the money. And the fight would never happen if Serrano wasn't happy with the money. So Jake's done an amazing job. Both girls will make a fortune. We make history. We sell out the Garden. Huge event watched by millions around the world. Everyone wins. And that's the essence of smart business.
Okay. Let's go back a few more days now. Friday night. I actually watched your interview with Behind the Gloves with Michelle.
Mm-hmm. Bit jealous, were you?
What's that?
Bit gel, were you?
Not really, no, because I wasn't in New York. So sometimes you can be relentless.
Like, but... you know when I was you were chasing me around trying to get an interview, and I saw Michelle, and I just thought to myself, he ain't gonna be happy. Oh, go on, mate. Yeah.
All right, listen. She's a grafter. I knew she'd get you. So anyway, that's that. So can you just talk me through Friday night's process from your side, first of all?
We had the purse bid. We, through the last probably 48 hours during that week, there was a chance that a deal could be reached for this quartet, if you like. And when the purse bid was rescheduled for Friday, it was pretty obvious as we got to Thursday that we weren't going to be able to agree terms and the purse bid would go ahead. So we were a little bit blindsided because we didn't expect things to change the way they did. And I actually felt that the bid might be delayed again, actually. Spoke to Dillian and the guys, talked about going out and get offers. There's a few reasons that you get offers and you speak to people. Some is to draw information from people about what they might be bidding or what the value of the fight is, or two, might be a good opportunity for the fighter. Had those conversations, put a number together that I felt was the right number, or certainly an aggressive number in the fight. But as I said, if you watch my interviews back, the day of the purse bid in Leeds, I told you what would happen. When you've got 80% of the bid, you can manipulate the bid. It's not illegal, but Tyson Fury's not getting what the purse bid said he's getting.
Do you know that for a definite, or that's what you believe?
Well, no comment. But yeah, basically, you can ask him. No one ever asks. The one problem I have with you lot, IFL, is you never ask the questions. The only people you ask the questions of is me. Right? So you got, your boy goes into Warren's office and basically gives him an opportunity to do a propaganda video for half an hour. No one asks him the questions. Ask the questions. Are you getting the money that was agreed at the purse bid? The answer is no. And by the way, it's not unusual. It's just smart business. It's how you win a purse bid. So that's one of the things we're up against. But I thought we bid a strong bid. We were the only two bidders. Not like anyone else put their money in their pocket or put the balls on the line. And unfortunately, we were up against a situation we probably couldn't win in. So we lost the purse bid. And then that's it. You know, we all spoke on Friday after the purse bid. By the way, it's not 80-20. It's 10% to the winner and 80-20 of the rest of the 90%.
So is that a bit odd? It's not a known thing, is it?
Yeah, it's with the WBC. Yeah, standard. So if Dillian Whyte wins the fight, he makes over 12 million. And if not, he makes 8 million. We're still working on the situation about that 80-20 split. But it's not, you know, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, Dillian's been really quiet. Not really. Dillian's training for the fight. And then I saw another article saying White's got till Feb 21st to sign the contract. So's Tyson Fury. Like, that's how long you get to sign the contract. By the way, it's been a week. We haven't received the contract yet. Okay? So we haven't received a contract to sign. And also, I don't believe the deposit has been paid yet, which is, I think you have 10 days to do it. So there's no problem with the fight. No one's looking like, oh, Dillian's gone quiet. Is he not taking the fight? Of course he's taking the fight. But once we get the contract from them, we'll go through it. I'm sure that'll be signed. And then we'll all move forward with the fight. And it's a great fight.
I do find it very strange that even though you've addressed Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury fight in this interview and previous interviews yesterday, that you, Dillian as well, but you more so as well, have not made any reference to the fight on social media. I know it's because
it's not my fight. You know, until that fight is made and signed, what do you want me? Do you want me just to tweet and say Dillian's gonna? Like, this is what you've wanted for such a long time. You bid 32 million for the fight, so obviously you've played an active part in this whole kind of situation. I'm over the moon for Dillian. We're not talking to each other and saying we're not commenting on the fight. I've answered questions from all the media about this fight, but have I gone on and posted about the fight? No, not yet.
But you've answered them because you had to answer them because you were put in a situation.
I don't have to sit here. I don't have to do an interview with you.
No, you don't. But yesterday, you were obviously in front of the media and you had to answer certain questions regarding that fight.
That's not, you know, honestly, at no point, like when people said, oh, you're being quiet about the fight, there is no fight yet. We had a purse bid. They've got to pay the deposit and send us a contract. Once that contract is signed and everything's agreed, on we go. And by the way, it's not like there's a standard purse bid contract. So it's not like, oh, it depends what the contract says. This is not one of those. There's a standard agreement that will be signed. So we're not, there's no like conspiracy here. We're just going through the process. I don't believe, in my heart of hearts, I don't know whether Tyson Fury takes this fight. That's honestly what I believe, because all the stuff we went through around the Usyk fight, he'd do this, he'd do, you see one thing, but behind the scenes, you pull that face.
But you said the Wilder fight wouldn't happen as well.
The second one, no, I was right the second time. I said that won't happen on that date, and it didn't happen. It took about a year and a half to happen.
All right, but I fought 3 times. So, but one of those fights you were convinced it wasn't
going to happen. That was the first one, actually. The first one I said wouldn't happen. This one, we'll see. But the thing is you never ask the questions. You never get the bluster. So on one hand, you see Tyson Fury coming out saying, Usyk's a dosser. He's useless. He's this. Can't believe you let a little Ukrainian midget beat you. Blah, blah, blah. What we see is he won't fight him without a warm-up fight after he just boxed Deontay Wilder. Right? So, but you never ask him that. There's so many things. I'm going to give all my money to charity, to the homeless. Oh, what a hero. You know, it's like, but he's really good at what he does in that respect. But the reason and all this stuff about, you went back and asked for more money. No, the deal was never agreed. And by the way, the deal changed because the deal that was presented was very different to actually the reality of the deal, because Tyson Fury wouldn't fight Alexander Usyk. Speak to Igis Clemens. Speak to Alex Krasuk. You've seen their tweets, and it's just because they got They haven't got a lot of followers. No one talks about it. He refused to fight Alexander Usyk next.
Can I say one thing quickly?
So
there's a difference between you saying he refused to fight Usyk, but then he refused to fight him next. You're saying that he wanted to have a fight in between the Usyk fight.
Yeah. No, not in between the Usyk fight. Before the Usyk fight.
Before he fought Usyk, he wanted to fight. That's what you're saying.
Tyson Fury refused and wouldn't fight Alexander Usyk for the undisputed world championship in his next fight in June. Okay? Why? You know why? Because Tyson Fury is a smart man with a smart boxing brain, and he knows how good Alexander Usyk is. Right? So, bearing that in mind, with AJ jumping in with Alexander Usyk at Spurs last September, instead of vacating the belt, and fighting him again straight off the bat this time around, is he gonna get any credit for taking those fights? Because Tyson Fury wouldn't take the fight. So all I request of you, sir, is that when you next sit down with him in an interview and say, "Can I ask you a question? Why weren't you prepared to fight Alexander Usyk in your next fight after Deontay Wilder?"
Yeah, I mean, I would word it differently to how you said it, because our information is coming from you about it.
Okay. Eddie Hearn said, you were not prepared to
why
fight. By the way, ask Aegis Klimas, ask Alexander Krasuk, ask all the people that were involved in the conversations. And we never instigated the conversations, by the way. All those conversations were instigated by Tyson Fury's team. Right? And we were prepared to listen. We were prepared to try and make it happen. If it meant AJ gets a shot at the winner of that fight, if it's financially a good deal, we'll consider it. And the deal was always very, very simple. Fury, Usyk, winner fights Joshua. That's it. And I don't even trust him. One of the problems for that was, do I trust him to actually fight Usyk, win, and then get in with AJ? Who knows? But do we trust him to fight March 26th, June, and December? Warm-up, Usyk, Joshua? No way. And that was a deal breaker. And when we talk about, they went back, asked more money. No, we went back and said, that's not the deal. So we're renegotiating the deal. But we are not allowing him to have an interim fight on March 26th.
Frank Warren's comments about Joshua wanting more money, what you were just making reference to there, is that accurate?
The deal that we discussed, first of all, was no longer the deal because Tyson Fury wouldn't fight Usyk. So we went back to Joshua said, no way, no way. I went back and spoke to him and said, that deal is no longer in play because you can't fight March 26th. You've got to go straight into that. And then there was a couple of conversations. We was trying to renegotiate, and then Fury turned around and said, I'll leave it then. I'll fight Dillian Whyte. All over. And when Tyson talks about, AJ lost 90 million, Fury lost more than that. Much more, the way the deal was structured. So, but we're cool because all the conversations, the last conversation I sat down with AJ and had, which was on Monday of last week, was I do not want to step aside at all. I actually quite liked the deal, to be honest with you. I thought it was a smart deal, but there was no way he was allowing the March 26th bout. And by the way, we didn't even go to
for what reason?
Because with Fury's activity record, do you honestly believe, like AJ has a shot at Alexander Usyk to reclaim the unified world heavyweight championships? We trust Usyk, we trust Alex Krasuk, we trust Aegis Klimas. That fight will happen. Do you honestly believe that Tyson Fury would box March 26th, June against Usyk, and again or July, and then November, December against Joshua? No. And are you going to roll the dice that you might not get a shot at the world heavyweight title for that? No. So that was the final position.
Just answer this then. If it's this is a contractual obligation for the sequence of events to happen. Yeah. So Fury was to have an interim fight, then fight Usyk, etc. If it's all in the contract, what happens if what you're saying is correct and he doesn't fulfil that part? What happens? Or what
we
would
never
have
got to that stage. We never got to that stage because we never got to a long form agreement. But the terms of the deal, which were always Fury Usyk, winner fights Joshua. That's what we were prepared to look at moving forward. And then it changed, and the answer was no.
Just coming back to Dillian Whyte, at any point in the last however long, or since Friday, have you offered Dillian Whyte an alternative?
No. There's no alternative. What? You lot are mad. Like, you just... No, but...
I'm asking, because there's always an alternative to everything.
There isn't. He wants a shot at the world heavyweight title. He's fighting Tyson Fury for a lot of money. Yeah, there's stuff going on with the WBC legally around the split that, I don't know whether that's why maybe Dillian Whyte doesn't want to talk about that at the moment, whatever. But he's in the fight. That's the fight.
Edward, the reason I asked this question is because at some point, if that step aside would have taken place, that would have involved Dillian Whyte stepping away from his shot with Fury. So I'm asking if an alternative was...
Two, fight for the WBC world title shortly after that fight. So it's not like that was a plan, but the step aside's not there. That plan's not there to fight for the WBC world title because Fury decided not to go down that route. So he fights Tyson Fury for the WBC world title. The only thing that we wait on is the contracts and the deposit, but they're just standard things for a purse bid. It's not like, we'll have to see what happens. No, there's a process that takes place. But there's no other fight. This is it. We're happy with this fight.
Well,
do we think the split is wrong? Absolutely. It's outrageous, the split. And there will be an appeal that won't affect this is a separate issue. But no, I mean, it is what it is. There's no other. We're not sitting there. I spoke to him today, yesterday, twice. It's not, any other ideas? We don't want to fight Tyson Fury.
Not from Dillian's side at all. He wants to fight Fury. I just wanted you, having worked with him for so long.
I'm happy. Listen, I want him to get his chance, and I believe he can win the fight. Let's do it.
Ultimately, he's earning more money from the £41 million. If it is, say, 20%, maybe more, who knows? But the 20% of £41 million is more than what he was going to earn through you anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we can only bid so much because we can't manipulate the 80% like they did. Do you know what I mean? So the 80-20 that was called cost him a lot of money in many different ways because we couldn't bid 41 million or whatever that fight was because we would have done 10 million in cold blood. And that's not happening. If the split was applied correctly, then he would have received a lot more and we could have actually been more aggressive in that respect. And they would have able to be less aggressive. But it is what it is, mate. It's not, it's not as deep as some people think it is. We bid 32 million. They bid 41 million. We lost. On we go.
If you knew that their bid was going to be 41 million, would you still bid?
I said, I think they'll bid 40 million. That's what I said.
So you went with your bid, surmising what they would have bid.
But if I don't turn up, they can bid what they want. There was only 2 bidders. All these other people, there's been loads of people come on. We could do the fight. We might be interested. It comes up. You've got to pay money to enter. And some people don't have the money. They talk a good game, but they don't have the money. But ultimately, if I didn't turn up to that Zoom and bid, they could have bid 5 million and got the fight. Do you understand? You can bid him, you know who's there. It's not like, whoever turns up, turns up. So if I don't turn up and there's one bidder, what are they going to bid?
Ed, can you talk to me about your knowledge of Ben Shalom from Boxer, his involvement regarding this fight and, his involvement pre the bid involving this fight and Dillian Whyte?
Just that we had a conversation and said we should find out what the deal is being offered from Sky. He made an approach to them on behalf of Sky. It wasn't obviously a deal that could work because it went to purse bid. He didn't bid on the fight. Sky didn't bid on the fight. And that's it. You know, Dillian, as we know, you know, Dillian goes on a fight-by-fight deal with us. He's a very, you know, we're very close to him. We've been with him all his career. We had a conversation. I told him to go out and find out what the deals were in the marketplace. It's also great for info on what people might bid. And, you know, like I said, no offers that were made pre-purse bid worked out because they weren't the right offers.
Let's assume everything goes ahead and this fight is happening. The touted date potentially of April 23rd at Wembley or Cardiff. How active are you going to be in this promotion and with Dillian Whyte?
As active as Dillian wants me to be. You know, since I've been helping and advising Dillian for a long time. Today, yesterday, the day before, last Friday, last Thursday, last Wednesday, last Tuesday. I mean, every day we speak. So I'm 1,000,000% behind him. And of course, I'd like to be by his side in the fight. I'd like to be helping him because we're very good at what we do. And we're very powerful within the boxing business. And I think there's a lot we can help him on in the fight. No problem going to the president. I mean, look, some people don't want me around in terms of the other promoters. Look at Canelo Plant. You know, I couldn't have been less welcomed by the PBC and Showtime and stuff like that. So we'll see. But listen, I'm 1,000,000% behind him. I have been for a long time. I want him to win desperately. I'd love to see him become world champion, personally. So,
listen. We know Dillian. This is the fight that he's wanted for a long time. For what reason is he not or hasn't made comment regarding the fight? In your opinion, or do you know? Considering it's been nearly a week,
probably just he's waiting on a contract. He doesn't believe that Tyson Fury will fight him. Being honest, and you can ask him when you speak to him.
Yeah.
Because we don't believe anything that they say. So I guess he's thinking until I get a contract, until everyone signs, until I get a date, until the money's paid, I don't believe it. But we'll see. He's ready. He's trained. He's been training non-stop. And also, by the way, you don't have to play to their tune, you know. So Tyson Fury he wants interaction. He wants goading. He's goading you. He wants to see a reaction. He wants to get himself fired up in camp. Maybe Dillian Whyte won't say a thing to the fight. Maybe we'll fight. Maybe we won't. You'll find out on the night. You know what I mean? You haven't just got to play people's tunes. Dillian's never going to play anyone's tune. I think it's quite funny. Where are you, Dillian? Where are you? Nowhere. We're hiding.
But listen, kind of all this aside, it's good that finally Dillian's getting his shot at the world title.
It's a great fight, so we'll see what happens. You know, hopefully he turns up. Hopefully they both turn up because it's a really good fight.
If you was to rate the chances of the fight going ahead, both men entering the ring on whatever date, out of 100, what would you give it right now?
At the moment, with everything going on around the world, I mean, it's not just. I can't even tell you that I'm 100% that the fight tomorrow night will go ahead the way everything's going. So I don't know. Look, let's just get the contracts in, let them pay their deposit, and then every step is closer and closer. I don't want to start saying, it's 50-50, it's 70-30, like whatever. But again, you don't see sometimes the reality of the situations. And yeah, I hope any doubts that I have are wrong.
How is AJ with all this situation? Now it's slightly clearer than it was a few days ago.
I think although some people have lost opportunities and so forth, I think everyone's happy just to put a line through it now and just say, look, let's just move on. Do you know what I mean? We all tried. We had conversations. Some ideas look good, but, I always said 4 people would have to agree to a plan. unfortunately, the plan changed, and others wouldn't agree to it. So, you know, it is what it is. Spoke to Alex Crasser, ready to go. I think May is realistic for that fight.
Well, Tottenham?
Depends. I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, we don't want to go too close to the Fury fight, but I think it will be quite close if it's April 23rd. But if that's in London, do we go in London as well? I don't know. We'd have to see. But that's the fight that we put in motion now. That fight's easy, not in the ring, but that fight's easy to. We could announce that fight tomorrow. Got a contract signed. You know, it's good to go.
I don't know where he made the comments, but AJ's comments about he could beat Usyk without a trainer.
I said that. We sat down on Monday and we were going through, you know, the situation, etc. And I was talking to him about the benefits of the deal, i.e., one of them, you get to work with a new trainer if that's your choice. You know, you could have a fight with him first. He said, I don't need a new trainer. I'll beat him now. I said, yeah, but you haven't started working with a new trainer. He said, I don't need a trainer. I'll beat him now. But that's a fighter's mentality. And he never, like, you know, there was 4 other people in that meeting. Freddie, KD, and Frank Smith. He had absolutely no interest. We had to convince him to consider this. And I actually thought the original plan was quite smart. But no problem saying it. But then it just ended up being a big mess with the March 26th fight and stuff like that. But he was so against this plan. But there was a lot of sense to it. But him as a fighter and as a person, you know, he said, he won't mind me saying it, but he said to me, I have to live with it myself, walking down the street, that I took step aside for this fight. And he was never comfortable with that.
Why hasn't the trainer situation been clarified on a public scale?
All this stuff, Goog, like, you don't have to, like, I know we live in a world where you want everyone to talk all the time and tell everyone your business, but until he starts camp, until the trainer's over here, and Anthony, 258 will make that announcement when camp is up and running and everything's in place.
Okay, it's a pretty big deal though. Like his training situation.
But when the camp starts, I'm guessing he'll make an announcement and say, "This is what I'm doing." But it's like, I think a lot of these people, I know, like, you get interviews out of me if you want, and I'll just talk randomly. That's my job. But until things are in place, some people don't like to talk about what might happen or what, like I do, because I have to do it. But yeah, when he starts camp, when everything is in order, he will make an announcement about where he's going to train and the training team, stuff like that.
Okay. Right. Moving on from there. What can you tell us or not tell us about the news regarding DAZN and now not going ahead with the plans with BT and now linking up with Eurosport, Discovery, etc.?
Not really. I mean, it's never been my place. I've never commented on the original speculation, and I can't really give you too much info on it now. I know there's obviously
Kevin Mayer's comments.
I haven't actually seen Kevin Mayer's comments yet, but it's not really our deals with DAZN. It doesn't really affect us. They've got huge plans with BT, without BT, etc. And I haven't really been across. I was never across those conversations or those deals. It's a bit above my level, if you like, and haven't really caught up. Just focusing on the upcoming schedule and obviously big fights in April and May, etc.
The key quote from Kevin Mayer was that the deal became uneconomical for DAZN.
Sometimes that happens. We'll see.
Okay, I'll take it you're not going to make any more.
I don't know. Honestly, mate, I don't know. Like, I don't own DAZN.
No, but you're very much part of DAZN. So
I work for DAZN. You know, I produce and stage all the boxing content, other than Golden Boy in the US, all around the world.
Okay. Update. I know you spoke again about it yesterday to various outlets about Canelo and his situation. So what is that currently?
That is currently, I met with Sal on Monday. I spoke to Eddie a few times, and, you know, we've put our position forward, what we'd like to do. He's had a number of other offers, and we hope that we can work with him again. Just an amazing experience working with them last time, and hopefully he trusts in us, and hopefully he likes our plan, and hopefully we get the call.
I'd be astounded if Canelo didn't work with you for however long. I would be. We understand the Plant situation because he wanted to become undisputed. That's why he was a bit of a side piece for that. But moving forward, like, you can see that relationship it worked for you and him.
It worked for both of us, and we're mates. But it doesn't mean he's just going to go with an offer that I make that's not as good as another fight or another offer. I think all things equal, I believe he would want to work with us every day of the week. And it would be massive for us, massive for DAZN to land him. So we'll do everything we can.
Okay, you've made some comments regarding Terence Crawford as well.
Yeah, someone asked me on that today. All I said was, I had a couple of chats on Terence Crawford. I don't think I can deliver him the fights that maybe his legacy or maybe his financial expectations require. But if I can, amazing, pound for pound, great. We'll see what happens. I think that's kind of like what I said.
Yeah, I mean, he's a free agent. So.
Yeah, it just, Top Rank's problem was they couldn't deliver him the fights. And I can't. So I don't want to be in the same position of Top Rank by putting a deal in place that, again, was talked about uneconomical. I'd rather try and deliver the fight that works for everybody. But I just don't, you know, I think he's in a little bit of a tough spot because I think he's going to get frozen out if he doesn't sign a big deal with a PBC, and I don't think he'll want to do
that. Devin Haney, you had a meeting with him?
Yeah, on Tuesday night in New York. Just, he'd come to do media just to say, I'm all in against George Kambosos. Like, don't worry about, I'll price myself out. Don't worry about this. I'm ready to fly to Australia and fight Devin Haney for the Undisputed Championship. George Kambosos. That is what Devin Haney is saying. And I believe George Kambosos, so look, he's got a big set of nuts. He had no problem fighting him. He's only got two options, really, for a big fight. Devin Haney or Vasily Lomachenko. And Lomachenko is just a voluntary defence. Can't become undisputed in that fight. And I think he wants to fight Devin Haney, but the deal's got to be right with everyone, obviously. But we're saying, like, you won't have a problem with our deal. So let's get it moving.
Demetrius Andrade.
Looks like may move up to super middle. What the WBO are saying, and the WBC, they're trying to sort of find a collective mandatory for Canelo Alvarez that Andrade can fight Zach Parker and then can fight David Benavidez as to find out the mandatory. It's a great fight, Benavidez against Andrade. That's the kind of fight we want to make. So if he has to fight Parker first, that's something that we'll look at as well. And that's the route that's been offered and one we might pursue.
Interesting. I wanted your opinion about Sky schedule for February. It was quite strong, isn't it?
Yeah. I think this Saturday you got Eubank, then you got Kell Brook on pay-per-view, and then you've got Josh Taylor. So it's a good month, you know. Don't know what the plans are. I think they've got Savannah Marshall headlining in March. Sure, they've got some good fights coming up for April, and yeah, it's a good month.
Question for you: if potentially Fury-Whyte was to happen on the 23rd, we know you were scheduled to go at the O2 with Conor Benn.
Correct.
Potentially again. I'm assuming that you would move that.
We would, yeah. Yeah. Conor Benn was due to go April 23rd. We've put other plans in place probably the week before in case they do go April 23rd. But again, we'll await. We haven't had any news from, obviously we haven't had a contract yet, but we haven't been told of any date yet for Fury-Whyte, which we will do in time, but not yet.
Does it have to happen before a certain date?
Yes, it has to happen before the end of April. The winning bidder has 7 or 10 days. I think it's 10 days to pay the deposit of 4.1 million. Obviously, that deposit that's the winning deposit. So the WBC will hold that for the winner, which is great. And then they have 14 days to confirm the date and the venue. But obviously, and then I think Feb 21st is when the contracts have to be signed. So hopefully, it's been a week now. Hopefully, we get those soon. Or February 21st? Yeah, maybe 28 days. And we can crack on.
Like, if there's a press conference soon, will you rock up to it?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. I'll speak to Dillian if he wants me there. But I don't think there'll be a press conference before they've received the contract.
No, obviously not. But
so, yeah.
Make sure I'm about that day.
Yeah,
Eddie, Gavin McDonald hung up the gloves tonight.
Gavin McDonald.
Gavin.
Yeah. I saw that. Very fond memories of Gavin and Jamie, two great characters. From Gavin's side, it was a fighter that didn't really have an amateur career, sort of turned pro with the aspirations of winning an area title, really, I think, winning an English title or whatever. Ended up beating Lee Wood as a massive underdog. Years ago in Hull, I promoted the fight to win the British title. Went out, won the European title. Then I took him to Chicago to fight Daniel Roman for the world title. It's an amazing career of a fighter that wasn't expected to go on and perform at that level. Dave Coldwell done a great job with him as well. And a really lovely, lovely kid. Love Gav, love Jamie. Both achieved so much. But for Gav, it was like one of those fighters that sort of performed well above where he was ever expected to be. And it was a really nice feeling and a nice story. Steffi Ball as well, done a great job with him. And he was always like living on just cloud nine for where he was and what he was achieving. But as he started to achieve that, he started to believe in himself more and become a really good fighter. So wish him all the best.
Absolutely. Great career he had. So you're retiring before you're 50. You told that.
Yeah, do you know how many questions I've had about that today? All I said was that I don't want to be like these old promoters like Frank and Bob and like in their 70s, 90 years old, like arguing with people and like answering questions to you and like waking up to bad news and people trying to fuck you and like it's just it gives you a miserable life. So all I said was, when I get to 50, I'm off. Stick me on a beach, couple of cocktails, la-di-da, beautiful. And everyone said, you won't retire at 50. I had Ray Ford come up to me earlier at the presser. Man, you retiring? I was like, no. I said when I get to 50. Well, it's only 8 years. I went, yeah, I might be dead before then. He's like, well, man, I'm gonna keep going for 10. I was like, all right, well, we'll work that out. But I don't know, just how it's a personal thought. How long do I want to sit here talking to you for an hour and a half? And then after this interview, it's like, he said this, he said that, it's like,
Yeah, but you love this fucking game, mate.
I do love this game.
Like you loved it.
But you know what? I'm a winner. And that's why I'm the best promoter in the game by a mile. But you may be right. You talk about when I love this game, maybe I just won't ever want anyone to beat me. Or maybe one day you just go, like I saw it with my old man. My old man had so much success in boxing and walked away into darts, and it was like the best thing he ever done. He was like a new man. No aggravation. He left all these people arguing and being bitter and everything, and just walked in to another sport that was so much more financially beneficial and so much more enjoyable to work with people. But
do you think you now are better than like a peak Barry Hearn?
Oh, different level.
You mean that as well?
My dad says to me, "Look, I'm sure he's, I'm his son, his family." He said, "You're on another level." He also says, "If you were around when I was promoting, I would hate you." So he understands why Frank and Bob and all these people can't stand me, because I'm too good. Much too good, much too sharp for these people. And the energy's on another level. And I'm handsome. That's probably the biggest killer. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at his Zoom right now. You can see the weight's come off.
I don't know whether you're serious.
I am actually serious. I do look unbelievable, and I'm the best promoter in the world on another level to all these people.
Listen, self-praise is better than no praise, my friend.
Someone's got to give me some praise. On that note, let's go to the gym, baby. Nice bit of grub tonight. Weigh in tomorrow. Phoenix, off we go. Back for Jacobs against Ryder, the Romford Ball, Felix Cash, massive show at Ali Pally next week. Don't forget the Monday press conference with Jake Paul and Taylor Serrano. Then we go to a Coley Sunday night with Galauia 5. They're selling very well at the O2. Get your tickets for that one. Then Chocolatito against Julio Cesar Martinez, March 5th. Give me some of that. March 12th, Lee Wood against Conlon, virtually sold out in the Nottingham Arena straight away. That's a classic. What about Portsmouth's Michael McKinson going for glory against Ortiz in America on the 19th of March? What about 26th of March? Josh Warrington trying to become a two-time world champion against Kiko Martinez, the upsetter. 9,000 gone for that one already. Lovely jubbly. Go into April, you're going to see Conor Benn, you're going to see Joshua Watsey, you're probably going to see Callum Smith. Then you've got April the 30th at Madison Square Garden. It's only the biggest fight of all time for women's boxing, and arguably one of the biggest fights of all time. It's going to be sold out at MSG. Stick a little bit of AJ Usyk in there. Probably a bit of Chisora against, I don't know, Wilder or Ortiz or something. What else? So much more. Probably end up getting a Canelo Alvarez deal. Lovely jubbly. Bring on the summer. Over and out.
You're a fucking idiot. But we love it. Eddie, thank you very much.
Cheers all. Thanks for watching. Cheers, Coog. Leave me alone, please. See you next week.
I will leave you alone till Monday. Top man.